All right, so last part of our pumpkin tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a simple scene, a floor and a wall that the pumpkin can be in, uh, you know. So let's go here. We're going to add a plane, and let's scale that up pretty big. And let's go to our front view and just drop that down like that. Okay. So now with this plane selected, let's add a material to it. So we'll go to the materials and I will click new. There we go. I think it's fine if we just do it with the pumpkin there. I was going to maybe move it to a different layer, but I think this will be fine. Okay, so now let's make our windows back like this so we can go to our nodes editor. Oh, you know what? Yeah.
They're not jeans, they're jeggings.
Oh.
They're a type of leggings. And they're stretchy, that's why they're called jeggings.
Okay, looks good. Okay, so I'm going to switch this to node editor, and we'll get rid of that menu. And let's switch this one to render view, like that. Oh, notice when we do that, we're getting some little specks of light here. These are called fireflies. That usually happens when you have light, like small amounts of light coming through an object that's bouncing. So I'll show you how to get rid of those later. All right, so we've got this selected. Now we want to add, let's go over here, let's hit add texture, image texture, right? And then up here, let's click on, oh, we haven't downloaded it yet. So let's go over to our browser, and I'm here at textures.com, which if you haven't made an account with them yet, you should do that right now. It lets you download 15 pictures a day for free. So let's choose one of these wood ones for a floor. We can go with whatever we want. I'll just go with planks for this. Bare, sure. Or floors. Okay, a bunch of these to choose from. I'll just go with this first one. And you want to choose one of these that's seamless. So I'll click on the free one, and that downloads. And I'm just going to click here, Show in Finder, and move that to my desktop just to make it easier to find. But you'll probably want to make a folder for textures that you keep all these in. Okay, so now we can go back to Blender, and let's click Open. And let's go to Desktop, Wood, Planks, Floors. That looks like it. Open Image, okay. Then I drag the color to the color here, and it doesn't do anything yet because we need to add another node. Oops, add input texture coordinate, like that. Boom. There we go. Real close. Well, first let's also add a slight bit of glossiness to this, because almost any material in nature will have at least a little bit of glossy. Maybe I don't know, maybe this kind of rustic hardwood floor wouldn't have any, but we'll add it anyway. So first, let's go with a mix shader, put that right there, and then add a glossy shader right there. And let's move our output, put the mix in between those, and drag the glossy into that. Okay, now you can see the shininess. Now that is way too much. But first, let's make our color pure white, and then let's change the mix to, oh, yeah, let's see in here, 0.02 maybe. That might be too much. 0.01. Okay, so that way it reflects the light a little bit. See, if we turn it off, I'll unplug that. That color goes away. So just put that up so it's a little bit shiny right there. The light hits it. Okay. Then another thing we want to do is right now our image is just flat, right? I mean, if you're looking at it straight down, then it might pass, but even then, it's looking kind of flat and blurry. So we're going to go over here to the image texture shader there, and I'm going to click on the color and drag this over to displacement. See how it made all especially the cracks in the wood? Gives it the illusion that they're sticking out more. Look down here when it's reflecting. So that looks a lot better. I'll disconnect it so you can see the difference. See how flat it looks? Okay, so I'll drag that in again. Yeah, that's good. One more thing let's do to this. You'll notice that all those things just make the illusion of the texture, but it's still just a perfectly flat plane. So what we added here, this is referred to as a bump map when you use the picture of the texture to add displacement to it, because it gives it the illusion of depth. we're going to add a different one as well called a displacement map. And this one actually will change the geometry. So kind of like how we made our pumpkin bumpy, but in this case we don't want it just a random bumpiness like was on pumpkin. We want it to fit the texture. So we still have this selected. Let's go to our modifiers, and let's go to displace. Okay, and when we first add it, all it does is, see how it moves the plane up, I can turn it off. All it does is move it up on the z-axis. Okay, so we'll just leave that for now, that's fine. We're going to click New Texture, and now it's moved it like opposite down on the z-axis. Okay, so did we do it already? No. So we need to click on this Show Texture in tab. Okay, so that brings us over here to our texture menu. And here we've got Image or Movie. And remember, for our pumpkin, we changed this to clouds, but in this case, we want to keep it image or movie, but we want to open that same picture, the one that we used for the texture. So let's go to Desktop, Wood Planks, Floors, Open Image. Okay, so now we have the picture over there. So what it's going to do is use the highlights and the shadows, so the light parts of the picture and the dark parts, to kind of generate where the geometry is actually going to go up and down. And you'll notice it's not doing anything yet. So I'm going to go back to my modifier. That is because right now, if we have this selected and we go into edit mode, see it's all just one big plane. So in order for that to work, we need to subdivide it. So that way it can move the different subdivisions up or down depending on if they are light or dark. So I'm going to click this, subdivide, and where's the number of cuts? So we're going to make a ton of cuts here. Let's try 100. Something like that, maybe. And then if we go back into edit mode, wow, look at that. And that is because we have our strength turned all the way up. So this is back in our displacement modifier. On the strength, I'm going to put 0.04. So even that is too much. So let's do 0.02. Okay, so see how it's changed the texture of these wood panels? So we move to the side, and so where those dark lines are, it actually makes that part go down. So now, if we switch this to rendered mode, yeah, check that out. That looks great. Okay, next thing we need to do is make a wall. So I'm going to go into object mode here, and I think in this case, yeah, let's duplicate this floor. Okay, so let's go into top view, and I will hit Shift D to duplicate, and you can see I've got a second floor here. I'm just going to right click so it goes in the exact same spot, and then I will hit R for rotate. I will hit X, rotate on the X axis, and I will type in 90, 90, enter. Okay, so now it has rotated it. So now it's a vertical wall, and I can grab this arrow and move it back so it's behind the light. This light is a point light. I think eventually we'll change it to a spotlight so that it's not so bright on the wall behind it, but for now that's why I've got a really bright circle up there. Okay, and then we can drag this up here. Now we need to have a different image on it besides just the same wooden planks that we have on the floor. But if we just go over here and change the image, then it will also, because this texture is being applied to both the wall and the floor. So first, I need to make a new texture to it. Also, I'm just going to delete this displace modifier on this object. Okay, so we still have it on the floor, but I'm going to make a new one for the back wall. Okay, then let's go to our materials and see how it's still using the floor material. So if I go here, if I hit this plus button, it'll add a new material, but it'll still have the floor one on there as well. So instead, I'm going to hit this plus button here, as you know, so you can see it add a new material. And see how that adds 0.001. So it's made it a unique material, and I can name this wall, but then it doesn't have the floor one on it anymore. If I select this one, that's got the floor, but the wall now has the wall. But this way, it still has all of the same nodes, so I don't need to add those all over again. And here, I'm just going to change the image that it's using. And let's try out this Japanese brick, see how that works. Okay, now I've got like a brick wall behind it. You probably wouldn't see this necessarily in real life, you know, a wooden floor meeting right up with a brick wall like this, but you can find whatever pictures you want and use them. Okay, so that's looking pretty good already, but now let's add a new displacement modifier, because as you can see, those bricks are just pure flat. So let's go to our modifiers, and put a displacement on there. And we're going to make a new texture. And going to click on this one here. We need to choose a new image that it's using. So desktop, choose the same Japanese bricks that we used. Open image, and remember that. Okay, so it's really distorting that a lot. But we just go back to our modifiers, bring the strength back down to, let's try, I don't know, 0.03. Okay. And now over here we can see that it's moving around those brick shapes. Okay, that's looking cool. Let's hit 0 to see what our camera's seeing. Nice. Alright, maybe now let's just adjust the light a little bit. So if I select the light up here and go to my lamp settings, let's change this. Let's change it to more of a spotlight. Yeah, now it's not shining on the wall so much. And the spotlights have a certain direction that they show in. So if I go to overhead, you can see here it's pointed right at the pumpkin. Good. And from the front view, also right at the pumpkin. And from the side, I must have had this as a spotlight to start out with. I don't know. Anyway, so that looks pretty good. If I wanted it to have more shadows around here, I could decrease the size of the spot. I could try like 20 degrees. So then it gets a little more shadows back there, but you can play around with that however you like. And you can also bring up the blend, you know, something like that. And the last thing, let's click on the color and make it a little bit on the blue side, or more like moonlight or something. Yeah, maybe increase the strength. Okay, so I think that'll work. Now, last thing we need to do is adjust our render settings so that we can get rid of all these little, these red dots. These are called fireflies. We can get rid of those. So what we want to do is go to our render menu and go down here to sampling. Notice by default we have 10 render samples, which is the same for the preview. So over here when preview, it's at 10 out of 10. I'm going to leave preview at 10, but I'm going to bring the render up to 200. So the higher the number, the better quality that's going to be. Also, the longer it's going to take. And then here on clamp, I'm going to put 5 for clamp direct and also 5 for clamp indirect. So that has something to do with the difference in brightness that it allows pixels next to each other, something like that. Okay, so that you don't see a lot of difference here in the preview, but once we hit render, then it should be a lot higher quality. So let's just go up here and click render, try that thing out. Oh, you know what? I'm going to hit escape here one more time. For this one, let's render it out at full resolution. See how here, this is basically the resolution of high definition video, 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels, but it's only going at 50%, so it's basically shrinking that by half. So if we drag this up to 100, and then we hit render, now our picture is going to be a lot bigger. It also adds to the render time, so I'm just going to pause this, and we'll come back to it once it's finished. Alright, so that is done rendering, and it looks pretty good. I would probably play around a little bit more with the lights, maybe have some kind of a backlight so that you get a little shine back here to separate it from the background, but for what we're going for here, I think this works pretty well. So have fun with making your pumpkins. Excited to see what you come up with. Take care.